there's this notion or this train of thought that when you come to college, it's kind of a train of thought that actually even gets started when you were in high school, maybe even when you were in middle school. But there's this train of thought that you come to college, come here, you declare, you study, you get the degree, and then you get on the path for which your degree says that you should be on. And it's supposed to be as simple as that. It's supposed to make complete, clear, and concrete sense relative to the path that you somehow chose, probably in the 10th grade when everybody starts asking you, what do you want to be when you grow up, right? We've all heard that question, right? What do you want to be? Like even when you're probably 10 years old, not 10th grade, when you're 10 years old or so, people start asking you, what do you want to be when you grow up? And, if I could go back to my 10-year-old mind now, every time somebody would ask me that question, I would just look at them and say, can I just grow up first? And then I'll get back to you, right? There's so much pressure. I'm 10. Calm down. So I want to talk a little bit about this idea that there's sort of like this path that you're supposed to know really early, and you're supposed to get on it as fast as possible, stay on it, and that's how life goes. That's how this thing goes. I want to talk today about this idea of the path of opportunity. The path of opportunity. Let me start. I start this way. Earlier this week, I told a really good friend of mine about a job at a great digital design company that I immediately thought and just knew she would love and that she should pursue. I told her about it on a Monday, and then just yesterday I checked back with her to see if she had applied, and she told me no, that she hadn't applied. And I asked why, because I just thought, man, this is like perfect. This is like right up your alley. Why haven't you applied? And she basically said that she assumed that she didn't have the proper portfolio to apply for this job, which made me go back because I'm messy. I went back and I looked at the link. I went back and clicked the link for the job description so I could read it myself. And the surprising thing was I didn't see the word portfolio anywhere in the job description. It was nowhere. I read it, multiple times. I'm looking for the word portfolio because she disqualified herself based on this idea that her portfolio isn't good enough. And so I was like, I don't see the word portfolio. What I did see was a job description that read like this. It said that the primary qualifications were for a kind of person that they were looking for. And it said this exactly. We are looking for a person who is energetic, a self-starter, ambitious, social media savvy, and someone who thinks that what's ahead is better than what's behind. This was the first part. This was not just the type of person. This was in their qualifications. Their qualifications were energetic, self-starter, ambitious, social media savvy, and someone who thinks that what's ahead is better than what's behind. These were the job qualifications. The secondary level of qualifications mentioned some skills and some programs that they would like you to have, but that they could train you for. But again, they were listed as secondary qualities. When I went back and I told her that, she said she assumed by the job title, it was a design something, she assumed just by the job title that she wasn't qualified. Then she admitted this is a great opportunity, and then she immediately went back to the site to start applying for the job. And that got me to thinking about this idea of a pathway of opportunity. A pathway of opportunity. Now, let me tell you a little bit about my story, something you should know, or you shouldn't know it, so I'm going to tell you. Between the ages of 17 and 22, I got fired from almost every job I had. And I'm using the word almost very loosely because I'm positive there were a couple jobs I was going to get fired from, and so I quit before they could fire me. And when I say I quit, I mean I just stopped showing up. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just telling you my truth. Between 17 and 22, I got fired from just about every job I had. And sometimes the firings were hard and rough, and sometimes they were like, Michelle. And I was like, oh, wait, that's cool. I got it. I know. I know where this is going. And then when I was in my third year of college, God told me to leave school because there were gifts and talents in me that he needed to use right now, but not to worry, that I could come back and that I could finish. That's just a real quick snapshot. I can tell you more about that. I can tell you the rest of that conversation with God another time. But you should know that from that, I ended up going on job interviews for probably 2 months, but just jobs that were related to what I felt like my purpose was. And I felt like my purpose was related to youth work, youth ministry, and the performing arts. So I only went to interviews at radio stations, TV stations, theaters, churches, charities, schools. And so that's kind of what I did. I was like, I'm going to find it. I'm going to find whatever this thing is. I'm going to find it. Now, the job that I eventually accepted in that space and time in my life, the job that I eventually accepted turned out to be the career and the vocation that I was absolutely meant for. It's actually what got me here. And I realized the funny thing is that everything that made me good for that job, even exceptional at that job, was all the stuff that I got fired for on the other jobs. Right? My passions were alive and active on the other jobs. They just hadn't found the right place yet. Does that make sense? Like there was things I was doing on the other jobs that I was like passionate about. People and coming together and groups and other kinds of stuff. There were things that I was passionate about early, that my heart and my spirit were leaping towards early. I just hadn't found the right job yet, but those things were actually actualizing and coming to life and actually even fine-tuning. I just hadn't found the right place yet. But it was all of those things that qualified me and got me ready for the place when it was the right time and the right place. All of those things that disqualified me became things that actually made me exceptional. Luke chapter 19. Do we have that, Nadia? Awesome. We're going to look at this guy. His name is Zaccheus. And he's in Luke chapter 19. And I want to show you, I want to look at how how Zaccheus got in a path of opportunity. Here's how it reads. Chapter 19 reads like this. Jesus entered Jericho, it's a city, and he was passing through. And a man was there by the name of Zaccheus. He was a chief tax collector, and he was wealthy. And he wanted to see who Jesus was. But because he was short, he could not see over the crowd. So he ran ahead, and he climbed a sycamore tree to see him, since Jesus was coming that way. When Jesus reached the spot, he looked up and said to him, Zaccheus, come down immediately. I must stay at your house today. So he came down at once and welcomed him gladly. All the people saw this and began to mutter, he has gone to be the guest of a sinner. But Zaccheus stood up and said to the Lord, look, Lord, here I am now. I give half of my possessions to the poor, and if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount. Jesus said to him, today salvation has come to this house, because this man too is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and save the lost. Here's a couple of background things about this text. By this time in Jesus' notoriety, he's like the dopest thing there is. And he might not, I'm not saying like he's dope because everybody likes him. I'm just saying he's the dopest thing there is because everybody knows about this guy. He's in demand. He's the counterculture. He's what's new. He's that upon which new has come. He is the thing. Right? So he's not a small carpenter from back in the way. Jesus is the thing. Jesus is the guy. If there's a guy to know, it's this guy. On the other hand, within the context of this time, Zaccheus, the tax collector, the wealthy guy, Zaccheus is what we would say, or what they would say anyway, he's unqualified to meet Jesus. Again, at least by those people's standards, because he belongs to a class of people that it would seem to them by this point that Jesus didn't come for these people. Zaccheus is part of the empire, and Jesus is not really here for the empire. He's actually countercultural to the empire, which would mean that he's not really here for people like Zaccheus, right? But Zaccheus, being the person that he was and being this close to opportunity, is not going to let something as trite as whether or not he's qualified stop him from seizing this moment, seizing this opportunity, having this chance to see the guy who's the guy. right? So he gets out there, just like you're doing, like you're gonna do. He gets out with that. He gets out there with everybody else. He gets out there with the whole crowd. He gets out there with the herd. He gets out there to see the guy, to have an opportunity, to catch an opportunity to see the guy. But he has another hurdle. And that hurdle is he's too short. Right? Another disqualifying trait, he's too short. He's out there, he's running with the pack. He's out there to see who the guy is, to see what's the what. But he's got another disqualifying trait, and that trait is he's too short to just see from the ground. But what's that mean to a person like Zaccheus at this point? What does that mean to him? It means nothing. So instead of going home and wishing or lamenting or wanting or moping, instead of doing that, Zaccheus is like, I'm going to climb up a tree. That sounds reasonable. I'm going to climb up a tree because I came here to see something. I came here to see this. There's an opportunity here. I came for it. So he climbs up a tree. Now, for whatever reason and by whatever happenstance, Jesus stops, looks up, and invites himself to Zaccheus' house. Catch this. Jesus stops, looks up, and invites himself to Zaccheus' house. There's no time to try and make himself look good, Zaccheus. It is what it is. Whoever you are, whatever you got, you are what you are. No time to run home, Zaccheus, and get your house ready. I don't know if you guys got a mom like mine, but you don't invite people. You don't let people come to your house and your house not look good, right? So folks can't just be showing up. You got to you got to make sure the house right. No time for that. Jesus says, I'm coming to your house, Zaccheus, today. It doesn't matter if Zaccheus is ready or confident or fully capable. It doesn't matter if the people think he's qualified. It doesn't even matter if the people think he deserves this chance. It doesn't matter. At this point, Jesus has already looked up and said, I'm coming to your house today. Get this. Whatever's coming next is near, and it is looking up to you and inviting itself to your house. Whatever's coming next is already near. It is looking up to us. It is looking up to you and inviting itself to your house today. Jesus didn't come for people who are qualified. He came for people who wanted an opportunity and a chance to be a part of who he was and what he was doing. He wasn't coming just for the qualified. He was coming for people who were hungry, thirsty, desperate, longing, eager for a chance just to have an opportunity, just to meet an opportunity. One of the things that was I don't know, created tension in the conversation I had with my friend was she was looking for an opportunity that was supposed to be perfect, that made sense, that was clear and concrete and had no issues, had no bumps, had no turns, had no bends. She's like, it doesn't look exactly like I want, so I don't want. And I said, no, you got to look at this a little bit different. You got to look at opportunities a little bit differently. Here's a couple of things. Sometimes you have to look for opportunity. Sometimes you got to look for it. Don't look at what it is. Look for what it could be. Sometimes you have to make an opportunity. Sometimes the opportunity doesn't know you exist. Sometimes the opportunity doesn't know you're ready for it. Sometimes you actually have to make an opportunity. Sometimes you look for it. Sometimes you make it. And sometimes you have to let opportunity find you, not by hiding and playing hard to get, but by obnoxiously getting in its way. Amen? Sometimes you have to let opportunity find you, not by hiding, but by you obnoxiously getting in its way. To get in the way, to say there's a calling, there's something that is beckoning something inside of me. This might have to stop waiting for some perfect opportunity to find you. Stop waiting and accepting whatever hurdles, whatever obstacles, whatever inconveniences there may be. Stop accepting that. Stop being thrown off by the lack of a perfect opportunity and make the best of any opportunity. The best opportunity of your life right now might require you to climb a tree, metaphorically speaking. But the best opportunity of your life might say, I'm going to go a different way. I'm going to take a different route. Something about this seems like it's the right thing to do right now, and I'm going to do it, and we'll see where it takes me. We'll see where this ends. Let opportunity find you getting in its way. Whether it be a job or if that opportunity even is Jesus. Let it find you getting in its way. And when it does, when he does even, let him come to your house. Don't worry about what your house looks like. Don't worry about if you're ready. The opportunity is ready for you. I want to close reading these two scriptures that I hope will guide our thinking a little bit. In Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. You don't know what you don't know. But you know what you feel, you know your passion, you know what excites you, you know that. And that's put there by God. That's God even birthed in you. So trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. The other scripture is Ecclesiastes chapter 9. Ecclesiastes chapter 9, starting down in verse 10. It says, whatever your hands find to do, whatever your hands find to do, do it with all your might. For there's no activity or planning or knowledge or wisdom in Sheol, death, where you are going. I again saw under the sun that the race is not given to the swift who gets there first, or the battle to the strong, to the warriors. And neither is bread to the wise, nor wealth to the discerning, nor favor to men of ability. For time and chance, opportunity, time and chance happen to us all. I pray that we are of a Zaccheus mind, where we get in the way of opportunity so much so that opportunity looks up at us and invites itself to our house.